Welcome to CrimeMitten. We are your hosts. I'm Shelby.
And I'm Alia.
Every week you'll hear a new true crime story based in Michigan, from the mysterious missing cases to the gruesome murders that left the police struggling to stay on the scene. We're giving you the inside scoop on what's going on in our Mitten state. Tune in every Wednesday for your weekly dose of Michigan true crime.
Hi guys, so we are back with another true crime case. This week is time for short cases. If you were here before, then you know that short cases come once a week, and we just take. Oh yeah, wow.
Don't up it up on us.
Short cases come around once a month, where it's basically a lot of cases that we want to talk about, but the only information we can find is that short little headline or whatever. So it's like really no real full story.
It can't be at least 30 minutes.
It can't be its own episode. So we just take four little cases and turn it into one full-length long episode. And
one of my favorites.
Yeah,
I love short cases.
Because they just go by so quickly.
They're so quick. But I do like them now.
Yeah, so before we had said that we wanted to start putting themes to our episodes. And when I heard about this, I'm like, this would be perfect for us to just go back and forth on as a short case episode. So, obviously everyone has heard of the Bermuda Triangle, which is like a cursed little section in the ocean, blah, blah, blah. But I've never heard of the Lake Michigan Triangle before.
No.
So when I So like when I first heard of it, I'm like, this is perfect. This is
we get our own triangle?
This is what we're doing.
So yeah, definitely was like, what? This is so cool. We get our own triangle.
So when I saw it, I'm like, Shelby, this is our first short case episode back, because this is interesting. Yeah. Literally never heard of it before.
I don't think I've heard many people even talk about it
either.
That's also a double win for us, because we like to be the first and not always the only, but you know, we like to at least leave our mark on stuff first.
Right. And the craziest part, everything has Wikipedia.
Yeah.
We looked this up and there was no Wikipedia page.
Nothing.
So it's like, oh wow, we like.
If you pull, like, you would be able to know if somebody went to us for resources, because there's literally, like, it was so hard to find information in these cases.
And it was like, so I click on Detroit, did it, Channel 4 News, whatever. So they did it, but it was like a sentence for each.
Yeah.
So you still had to go back and do more research after looking at their one sentence. You could kind of like get a gist of what you were looking for from there. And obviously go on the internet and find like full stories, but they were still only paragraph long
paragraphs
stories.
of them. So like, yeah.
And it was like the boat drowned and that was it.
So it just shows the dedication we put into it.
10 years later.
Like,
right.
This was hard.
There were a few sites we had to search just for this one paragraph that we came up with.
Yep. So, hope you guys enjoy. Don't let this flop, because this was hard.
I have, I think I did 2 or 3 stories. I have 5 note cards total.
Yeah. So, I did 2 and I have 6.
So this is like.
So yeah.
After looking at Shelby, she had somehow got the longer articles, but the longer stories, but like she still only has 6 note cards out of 2 stories. So you see how that goes. And her note cards are also a lot smaller than mine.
Yeah, so I don't get to fit as much on there. So yeah, who knows? They need more information.
Right.
Don't drop bombs on us like we got a Lake Michigan Triangle and then be like
no
3 things on it. But all right, let's get into it so you guys can be just as frustrated as we were about the lack of information.
Right. The Lake Michigan Triangle spans from Manitowoc, Wisconsin, to Ludington, Michigan, back down to Benton Harbor, Michigan, and then obviously back up to Manitowoc. So the first mishap took place on May 21st, 1891. So this has been going on for a long time. This is the 1800s. Right. So a three-masted schooner that was built in 1870 was called the H.C. Albeck, and it was built by Joseph Hansen in Wisconsin. It was named after its first owner, Captain Harry C. Albrecht, and it was built to be 130 feet long. It was sold to Captain Welch in Chicago, and then again sold to Thomas Hume and Charles Hackley in Michigan.
Okay.
In Muskegon, Michigan.
Wow,
4
he
years.
has some travel miles
Right.
on him.
Like a year after it was sold to Chicago. And yeah, it was renamed to obviously the Thomas Hume after its owner, one of its owners. So Elizabeth Sherman, who was the great granddaughter of Thomas Hume, wrote a book about the boat because, like I said, it just disappeared. So the book was called Beyond the Windswept Dunes: The Story of a Maritime Muskegon. So the empty boat was coming from Chicago back to Muskegon after, its delivery or whatever, and it was riding along with its partnership, or like another ship that belonged to the company called the Rouse Simmons. So it's a storm during their way back to Michigan. So the Rouse Simmons, their captain decided to turn back around because they're like, okay, this storm is
too much.
It's too bad. So they turned around. The Thomas Humes kept going, and 2 days later, the Rouse came back to Michigan, expecting to see they buddy tied up to the
they made it. They're docked.
Right. And that's when everybody realized the boat was missing because it wasn't there. Like, they just thought, like, everybody turned around together. So
nobody really questioned it at first.
So, like, 2 days later, after the storm, when the Rouse decided to go back, it was like, oh, they not back yet? That was a crew of 6.
What you mean?
What you mean they're not back yet? So Hackley and Hume, the owners, sent out a search party, basically. Like, check other docks, check the water, like, check everything. Nothing. So Captain Harry Albertson and his crew of 5 were never found. So there were like rumors like, oh, they went to another dock, repainted the boat, and started all over. Like, why build the boat?
But why?
Why?
Okay.
So, like, that was like one of the theories that was sent out. But in 2005, deep water divers found the boat, and like basically intact, but found the boat under the water.
Like completely intact?
Yeah.
That is weird. Like a boat that's that long.
That old.
And that old, and it's...
And it was 2010, and it was still there.
That is so weird.
At the bottom of Lake Michigan, right.
Okay, what else is down there? Because, like, things are being preserved. So, the first one I had to do was The Mystery of the Roosevelt Ship. And I kind of don't get, like, the spelling was different because, like, they was like, you gotta say it Roosevelt together, or like...
But it was 2 words.
Yeah.
I did see that.
I have no idea.
Mind you, we still worked on the same Google Doc sheet, but we didn't read each other's.
Yeah.
So, I don't know anything about this. I just said, I'll start with the first one and you go to the next one.
And then you go to the next.
And we'll go from there. So, I didn't read any of these.
Yeah.
That Shelby has.
Neither. I read one word out of yours, and it was the. I remember, because I was like, oh. Well, like, I don't even know why I focused in on that one. But whatever. So, the ship was wooden, a 2-masted schooner, and it was built for $4,500 in 1863. In 1919, it was a vessel used to bring supplies to the High Island to the House of David. Don't that sound like some medieval stuff? The House of David. It's like Game of Thrones. The House of the Lannisters. Like, so... It had a 58-year career overall in total. But there were, like, reports of a lot of mishaps that happened on it as well. Like, in August of 1875, the captain at the time, he had a really bad injury. Something where, like, he fell, or... It was really bad. I couldn't really get what they were saying by it, though, because it was just a bunch of C words. So, but they said that he was badly injured and that he never was able to recover from those injuries again. So a lot of people said that, like, the boat had to be kind of, like, patched back together after this incident and whatever the case may not be. But either way go, on October 30th of 1921, it set sail on its last voyage. It wasn't like it was a planned last voyage, but it was last voyage. So it was loaded with lumber, and it took off on its way from High Island to the Benton Harbor, one of the points in the triangle. When they discovered it, it was 42 miles away from Milwaukee, and it looked like the ship had capsized in a gale of Lake Michigan. It was upside down, the yawl was missing, and it was empty. Now, this boat had 11 members of a crew, but there was literally no sign of them at all. So, you know, that helps people sleep at night as they cross over that river. But so they examined the boat, and it said, okay, well, it looks like it was collision, like it went head on, but there was no reports of another boat, and they didn't see another boat that had damage. It was just that single boat, nothing else around it. Interesting. So they beached the boat, and they salvaged it for the lumber, and still to this day, they also don't know what happened. Wow. Yeah. So, and they don't have any trace of the crew members. Like, there's no body part. There was no body parts in the water. It literally just looked like it was a ghost ship just floating around.
Oh, that's strange.
It's,
some crazy stuff happened on this lake.
Yeah.
that I never knew about, like, ever. So, the next one is the disappearance of Captain Donner. On the evening of April 28th, 1937, Captain George R. Donner guided his ship, the O.S. McFarland, through the icy lake. And then he told his first mate to wake him up once they got to their destination. So, or once they were getting close to the port, so he could guide it back in. So they picked up their 9,800 tons of coal from Erie, Pennsylvania, and they were going west to Port Washington. 3 hours later, they go to wake him up. His door is locked. Knocking, I think he never came to the door, so he broke the door down.
Right, as he
Captain
should.
was gone.
With the door locked?
With the door locked.
Nobody
else was there. The whole rest of the crew is doing what they're supposed to do.
And they just have a missing captain at this point.
There's no trace of where he went. There's no trace. He was just gone.
Wow. That's weird.
He was just gone. They kicked down the door and he wasn't there.
Because you know what? I know
him. No evidence that he left. He was just gone.
Because the captain's supposed to go down with the ship. So, it's like ship or life. So,
he was just gone.
All right. That's weird. Yeah. What? I'm sick the fact the door was locked.
Right.
You know how many times people probably walked up oh, no, Cap's in there.
Right. All the time. He's not.
He's not even there. All right, so the last one I have is the disappearance of Northwest Flight 2501.
This is the one I was interested in.
Yeah, it was a nice one, but it was, I don't know. It threw me off at the end, so we'll see. We'll talk about it. So, before we get into this, I want to give a little bit of information about the plane to let you know, how it adds on to how mysterious this was because of how qualified this plane was for, this simple flight. So, this flight, the plane itself was one of, it was built for the U.S. Air Force during the war. Mm-hmm. And this one was built in Chicago, 1943. So, after the war, a lot of the planes were turned into commercial flights because they just didn't need all of these planes anymore. Right. So this plane was capable of flying from Chicago to San Francisco nonstop. So it was
it could make it.
It can make it. So
that's a big distance.
It's a big distance. So it's that should be nothing.
The country.
Right. That is across the country. So, it was a pleasant night on June 23rd of 1950, and Flight 2501 was scheduled to go to New York to Seattle, Washington, and it was scheduled to stop in Minnesota. So pretty simple.
It's across the country, but there's a stop.
There's a stop there too, so it's like, even then it's not necessary, but hey, it's happening. So there was there was a pilot named Robert C. Lind, and he was 35 years old. And when they was talking about him, they said, like, if anybody was experienced to handle any situation, it would be him. Like, he was very respectable, and, like, within the last 90 days before this, he'd flown 100 plus miles. So, I mean, hours. Oh. So they're like, he's good. Like, this guy is skilled. Co-pilot Vern F. Wolf, who was also 35 years old, they said that, like, he could have flew this plane. Like, he could have been pilot. Like, you have two very respectable guys and experienced at that. We had one stewardess, and her name was Bonnie Ann Feldman, and she was 25 years old, and she tended to 55 passengers. That was 27 women, 22 men, and 6 kids, which broke my heart. I heard that. So, before takeoff, the plane was filled with 2,500 gallons of fuel, 80 gallons of oil, 400 pounds of express, and it weighed 71,342 pounds. That's 58 pounds under the max to take off. So, they were in the clear. Yeah, they're in the clear. So, the plane takes off from LaGuardia Airlines at 7:30 p.m. And because it is so many little details, I'm going to read you guys the storyline of what happened. Because, yeah, I don't want everything is, I want every part to be heard because it took so long to find this stuff. So, the plane took off from LaGuardia at 7 p.m. under clear skies, and it headed west. The plane passed over Cleveland, Ohio safely. No problems. By 11:51, the plane passes over Battle Creek, Michigan now. While flying at 3,500 feet in the air, the pilot told the Air Control Center in Chicago that he was estimated to pass over Milwaukee around 11:37 p.m. that night. At 12:13, the plane reaches Lakeshore, and the pilot radios in a request clearance to go to 2,500. He never says why. Mm-hmm. They hint at, like, the fact that he knew that it was a storm occurring over Lake Michigan, that's why, and it was, like, already another plane having trouble. But they said, like, that's just kind of like that's kind of just like a theory that they had. Like, okay, this is probably why he said something. So his request was denied, and they said because of air traffic. It's traffic in the air right now. You can't do it. So supposedly that's when they figured out another plane was having issues over Lake Michigan at the time, and that the pilot started to think, okay, well, with that going on, I don't have clearance to, like, within the 1,000 feet that you guys gave us. I don't think that I can handle, like, we can't handle it because of the turbulence and all this stuff. We won't be in the clear path of the other plane. So, not too long after midnight, the Northwest radio at Milwaukee, they radio out that, hey, Flight 2501 was supposed to check in by now, but we can't get in contact with nobody. So at this point, everybody is, like, radioing them, trying to get, okay, maybe the signal's good over here, and, like, they're trying to figure this out. And nobody is able to figure out where they are. The plane is considered lost at 5:30 a.m. that morning because didn't make it to its destination. No one's reporting a plane crash or anything. So, at this point, a hunt for the passengers is now on. Like, they need to find out, okay, we need to get the survivors then at least. Around 6:30 p.m. that day, like 13 hours after, the Coast Guards find an oil slick, aircraft debris such as the fuel tank float, the seat cushions, clothing, blanket, luggage, cabin lining, and they even find body parts at this point. So now it was the mystery of, did the plane explode mid-air or did it hit the water? Did it hit water, and that's how all this happened. So due to the debris being over like a 4-mile area, now it was they were trying to figure out if the plane exploded in mid-air or did it strike the water, and that's where they're finding the debris. So they said that it was in a 4-mile area, 12 miles northwest of Benton Harbor.
Why do
both my cases have to do with Benton Harbor?
Because that's where that's
where it really goes down at Benton Harbor. So the Coast Guard suggests that maybe the plane was twisted in a high wind and it caused a spark, and that spark then like got to the fuel tanks, and maybe that's why it caused an explosion so big that it completely like disintegrated the bodies. So that's why they can't find it. This was just one of the theories they had. Like they end up going through a bunch of theories. And many said it wouldn't have been worth to dive in a lake because nothing would be there. And whenever someone did find decide to dive, they didn't find anything. So you had this plane that's just gone. And like you don't really like, they're not getting no big pieces of the plane. They're getting debris of the plane. So that makes it even more, helpful. So only thing that they could find in the water was just like some personal items that like floated to the top of the water. And some claim that when the explosion occurred, like, they said that, like, in Michigan, we didn't really linger on the fact because to us, it was just, like, our lake was closed for a little bit. Like, that area was closed, and then it was opened back up for 4th of July weekend or whatever. So then, but in Wisconsin, they actually had people, like, that was on a plane from there and stuff. So they took it a little harsher, and they said that 2 hours after the supposed flight, the supposed explosion, they seen a bright light flash throughout the sky. But it was 2 hours after the fact. Interesting. Yeah, so I don't know. Interesting. And they said it was at least 10 people who witnessed this.
Okay, so you said the bright light flashing. So when they get into, like, theories of what could have happened, like, not necessarily to the plane itself, but, like, over the water, people report to see like flashing lights and UFOs and stuff like that over the lake. So, was that just a random flashing light that people see?
I have no idea. Then why was it 2 hours late? Like, did somebody get scooped up? Like, they come pick somebody up?
They came and picked them up.
So they said that, like, even years, like, once they did, like, do the investigation 6 months later, they said that they don't know the cause of why it happened or what happened and stuff. They have their theories, but listed down is unknown. And even years later, when Michigan Shipwreck Research Association searched for 16 years straight, diving and stuff, they weren't even able to recover any of the bodies from the flight.
That's why people said it was UFOs.
Yeah, that's why people are saying it's UFOs. And I kind of agree with the idea that it was like maybe it was a big explosion where like it disintegrated like that because. Okay, you said what?
Oh no, I said
I have no idea. So, yep, that's my last one, and I think that one kind of bothered me more of not knowing the answers than the Roosevelt because anything involving kids gets to me.
Yeah. So, one of the, like, bigger theories on why, like, so much happens over the water is, in 2007, rocks sort of resembling Stonehenge in, Wiltshire, England was found under the water, 40 feet under the water, a ring of large rocks. In Stonehenge in, England is like these rocks that are like over like burial mounds and stuff like that. So seeing that lake was like, is the lake haunted because these rocks are down here? And then it's like, don't know when they got there, but on one of the rocks it had what looked to be a mastodon, which is basically like an elephant like animal that's been extinct for 10,000 years.
That's weird.
Yeah. So it's like, where did these come from? Where did these appear? When did they get here?
Because, like, if it's showing something from that point, like, whoever knows, like, had to see, like, they, like, you don't just get that picture out of nowhere and then draw it on a rock and then it buries and stuff like that. So, like, you had to see this, so it probably dates back that long.
Right, so that's, like, one of the theories. Another theory, like I said, UFOs. I'm trying to go back to Google Docs. It was like UFOs. People report to see bright lights flashing over the lake at just random moments. Some people think that the triangle might be a time portal.
Mm-hmm.
that like bends time, and calling the cause a metaphysical force with supernatural vortex energy.
Okay.
And
sure.
then some just blame it on the fact that it's Lake Michigan. You never know what the weather is going to be like in Michigan.
Very
We
true.
get all 4 seasons, but it can also be really bad snowstorms in April or May. So people just blame it on like the fact that it's weather. We get strong storms and high winds and stuff like that.
Makes sense, but
so yeah, those are like different theories on why people think Lake Michigan is haunted or whatever the case may be, right? Whatever you want to call it.
No, but
so
you
those
could
are just some theories.
Definitely say something weird is going on.
Yeah, obviously there's something weird going on.
Yeah, people going missing, planes going missing, like flashy lights and stuff like that. That's one place we won't be taking a trip to.
Right.
But yeah, so do we do a question after this?
Yep.
We do, and it's my turn, isn't it? Oh, you have the book.
Do it.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see. Tell me when to stop.
Okay.
Oh, you already did that one. Wow, that's crazy. This is the first time we came across one we've already done. So, would you say you are a good or bad influence to others? And that's question 813.
813. I feel like I'm a pretty good influence on people.
I think I am too.
Yeah.
I'm not a good influence on myself, but that's neither here nor there.
That's
not what the question was. That wasn't the question.
I was actually a pretty good influence on myself because I'm like, I don't need to order food this week. We are going out for dinner this week. I don't need it. We actually need to get going. So I really don't need to spend money this week. So I did pretty good. Obviously, it's only Wednesday, so but I still did pretty good.
But yeah,
with not ordering food because we are going out in an hour.
Yeah, so I think that's pretty good. Like, we do good.
We do good.
Yeah. I think we're great
Good people.
Yeah, I think so. So that is our first short case episode since we are back.
Yep.
And tell us if you heard of the Lake Michigan Triangle.
Right.
And
have you ever been affected by it?
Yeah. Do you know someone, who's seen a sighting there or something? Who knows? Like, give us insight because we're not going.
What's your theory on the Lake Michigan Triangle?
Yeah, because I really don't know at this point.
Right.
Nothing surprises me, so hey. But yeah, like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. I feel like there was one more. Who knows? But yeah, do that.
And follow our social media, all of that.
That's what it is.
All of that good stuff. And yeah, thank you for watching another episode of Crime in the Mitten. Thank you for listening to Crime in the Mitten. You can find the transcripts, pictures we've discussed, as well as the links to our references at our website. There, you can also find the links to all of our social media. If you have a case you'd like us to talk about, you can leave a comment down below or go to the Contact Us page of the website and leave a suggestion. Each month, we will choose one for an episode. Please like, comment, and subscribe. It helps a lot.